Hello. I'm a professional photographer, and I had the chance for the past 10 days to use the rotating lens phone, the N3. And in fact, I was a bit skeptical in the beginning, and then after a couple of days of shooting, I found out that I was using a lot of features that can only be bought for about 40,000 euros in professional equipment, all packed in the phone. Next, please. I pushed my luck a little bit, and we did a photo shoot in the studio. We were doing a jewelry shoot for Mrs. Azza Fahmi, the jeweler, and this is done on the phone. And it came out exactly as good as shooting on a digital bag on a technical camera. That was done for Andil Industries. Back, please. This is technically a very tough shot to do. It's full of details, and the backlight is very hard to measure. And that phone has an AE lock and autofocus lock function that only exists in professional high-tech cameras. And by locking the focus and the exposure in the middle of the lighting area, we're able to do such shot. This does not exist in any other phone I've ever used. Needless to say, of course, shooting diamonds in antique cuts, very tough because they're not homogeneous. They're very old cuts and very hard to get any light out of them. And it was just a snap with this phone. Next, please. No comment. It's same thing. The autofocus lock, the exposure lock, and the same effect we get with the telephoto lenses of $5,000 or $6,000 each was very easy to get with that phone. Next. We had a big day in St. Catherine's Monastery, and this was very hard to shoot because the whole monastery was in the shadow. But the phone has a function called HDR, High Dynamic Range Photography, which also very tough to do. Usually we take about 5 to 6 shots, and then we superimpose them on the computer, and we come up with a proper exposure for the whole sequence. And that phone can do it in only one shot. Next. For me to do a shot like this with a camera, very tough. But also a snap, just with 2 fingers, you zoom in, and you can come up with those shots. And that was shot on telephoto with HDR. This is in St. Catherine's also. Also very hard to do because of the difference of lighting between the shadow area and the highlight area. Usually also has to be done on several shots, and then we cut and paste on computers, but it was able to do it only one shot. Next. Yeah. This is phenomenal. The rotating lens function on this phone is to get the equivalent of it in equipment, you have to go for a Swiss sites camera or a rotating digital camera, which will cost you minimum 40 to 50,000 euros. And very hard to use because it's very sensitive to vibration, very sensitive to exposure. But that phone has the ability to change exposure as it turns around. So anyone, any child can hold it and go for a panoramic shot, and every spot on the picture will be properly exposed. And the size of the picture is crazy, actually. It's, that raw file is about 60 megabytes, which is good for billboards. And at the same time, because the lens is rotating, you don't have to superimpose frames on top of each other and waste time, and then come up with, you have to do a lot of graphics if you do that, because in a shot like this, there is a lot of waves and the water is moving. So with the rotating lens, it takes every millimeter on its own. So even if you have a wave coming in, it's going to look very natural. Next. This is a shot for a car ad if you want. You can do car ads on this phone. Thank you.